Hello, everybody. We're moving on to the next lesson. For me, it's been like a month since I've recorded a lesson. It's been really busy for me, but for you, it'll probably be like, like like 2 seconds or something like that to get to the next episode. So we are going to in-game the map. This is a perfect time to in-game the map because you will have finished the fields, you will have finished the digital elevation model, your real terrain. This is a perfect time to just get the map in-game, to look around, see how the fields are conforming to the landscape, see if it's exactly how you want it, because we want to do this before we move forward, because if you change the DEM, excuse me, if you change the DEM, if you change, something about that, and you start adding objects into the map, your objects are going to start clipping through the ground. Everything's going to be off. You're going to resculpt the terrain and everything, and it's just going to be a mess. So we want to make sure we get the DEM correct right off the bat. Okay, and we're going to do that by in-gaming the map, and then you can, try to look around while you're in game and see if everything is correct, because when you're in Giants Editor, you can't really tell. You can sort of, if everything's proportional, but I tend to like open the map in game just to make sure, give it that last check before I move forward with anything else. So that's what we're gonna do. So I've gone ahead and opened the tutorial map. Right now it's in new folder, but it'll probably be on your desktop or something like that. I'm gonna go ahead and lower the image plane. This image plane, if it's accidentally clicked with rigid body, make sure that over here is clicked off. You don't want that. But just to be certain, we want this underneath the map, because you can run into it if you have if it's got certain characteristics, or if it's above ground, you can run into it and you'll run into FPS problems, and you will also get stuck with your tractor if you hit a high enough elevation where you're hitting that plane. So that's kind of funny. It's something I learned a while back. So we want to make sure that's underneath the ground. Okay, we're going to click on Felsbrunn here. Your map should come with this, but if it doesn't, you can go to the actual Felsbrunn map, the base game map, and probably export and import this transform group. I'll show you how to do that, how to do importing and exporting later, but your tutorial file should come with this. Okay, so we have gameplay. Okay, now what we want to do is let's do this first. Let's do this first before we get to that. Let's click on career start point. Okay, career start point, where is there? Oh, it's way over there. Okay, so career start point is basically where you're starting when you load into the map. Right now, it's kind of floating up there in the sky, probably because on the map that we used previously, that was the correct elevation. Okay, so we want to do a quick Control B, bring it down here, and so now it's just it's sitting right level with the ground when you do Control B. Perfect. That's all we want. That's where you start the game up. All right, and I believe you're pointing in the blue direction, the Z direction, the Z axis. Okay, so we want that, and you'll probably not be using, if you're not using store deliveries, you're going to want to put your vehicle shop somewhere for, if you want to buy vehicles and drive around the map, you can certainly do that. It's quicker to get around the map. So I'm going to click on gameplay. That's at 0. Always want gameplay zeroed out. Okay. Always want it 0 under translate and rotate. Okay. I'm going to click on vehicle shop. I'm going to click Control B and just bring it down here. This isn't the official shop. I just want it sitting here for now. And then let's see, store place. Let's just go ahead and put that at 0, 0, 0, 0. Just zero that out. When I say zeroing out, I'm just basically putting it at the origin of the parent transform group. Okay. And right now, the parent transform group for that is vehicle shop gameplay. It's located at these coordinates relative to its parent transform groups, which are up here, but they're zeroed out, so that doesn't really matter. But that's really important thing to keep in mind when we're doing placeables later on, the translations and where the parent transform groups and everything and their subsidiary children groups are located. Very important. Okay, so vehicle store place 1 start. You might have 3 in here. You might have store place 1, store place 2, store place 3. It'll just, when you buy vehicles, it will go in rows. Okay, in the first row is store place 1. Okay, so we got start. This is the endpoint. You can move the endpoint as far away as you want. You can move it, you just keep it parallel to the initial start group. Okay, so that's what you want. When you buy vehicles, you want them coming out in rows, right? So if you run out of space in between these two, it'll go to the next row. Okay, and then the next row after that. If you don't have any rows after that, then it'll just say that the shop area is full and you had to clear the shop area so you can buy more vehicles, stuff like that. Vehicle shop trigger, don't really care about that at this time until we put in the shop. So nothing else really matters. Make sure we have water planes that are below the surface is when you do buy a vehicle. If you decide to run around the map to check everything, you don't want to be running into the water and flooding your engine. Okay, so let's just make sure that's underground. Okay, that's good, that's good. For you, with your terrain, maybe this stuff is popping up above the ground. You would just need to move it below. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and file save. Should take literally 2 seconds. I guess more. Okay, I'm gonna exit out of that. Okay, now I'm gonna, sorry for the messy desktop. I've been working on a lot of different projects. Okay, so I had that in folder 5. Let's bring that over here. Okay, now let's go into mod desk. Edit with notepad. Okay, right now it says author, MRG mapping, and tutorial map. You can change this. In fact, I change it to your own name if you want, or if you have a mapping group or individual Facebook page, go ahead and change that now. I'm going to change the title of the map to, I'm just going to call this Utah. It's pretty distinguishable from any other name maps out there, so I'm just going to call it Utah. You can call it whatever you want. You can put a comma, just do like I did, Marksville, comma, Wisconsin, WI. You could do it that way as well. Won't affect anything in game. This is, by the way, when you're picking maps in game, the order will go in alphabetical order based off of your title. Okay, this is the description, this is the title, and then you're going to need to do the same thing. I'm going to go do a copy paste here for multiplayer right down here when it shows up in multiplayer. Now, in order to play it in multiplayer, you will need to zip the map, but we're not really at that stage yet, but you will have to zip them. I'll show you that later. I can show you that right now, actually, how you zip a map. You do not need to zip it, by the way, to put it in your mods folder, but you would highlight the front of the map here, and you do send to compressed folder. Okay, and then it's going to compress. This will take a hot second. Okay, and then you're going to rename it to Evis 19 Utah. All right, super easy, but we don't need to do that. We're going to go to this front of the file here that I have it in. Make sure you're closed out of Giants Editor. You cannot move things that you have open in Giants Editor. You cannot move them to other folders. It will not let you. It'll say this folder is opened in another program. You need to close down that program first before you move the physical file, because that program, Giants Editor, is referencing that file directory. So if you move it, it's just not gonna let you move it. Okay, so I'm gonna move tutorial map over to my mods folder. I have my mods folder pinned to quick access. If you don't have that, go to documents, go to my games, Farming Simulator 19, and go to mods folder. Now, if you want a separate mods folder for testing your map and you want to load it up quicker, you can just have mods 1 down here, and I just changed the name of the primary mods folder to mods 2, and then I changed this one to mods. And so the game will read mods, that the name of that folder always. Okay, so when you load up the game, if I change the name of this folder to just mods, it'll just load up this stuff. Okay, that's one way of like quickly testing stuff, and you won't have to deal with load times or like other mod conflicts and stuff like that. But we're gonna disable mods when we get into the game here. Okay, we're gonna take our little time here. loading the game. Sorry, I should have loaded this earlier. Let's oop, there we go. So this may take a little bit for you. I don't know. It takes a little bit for me. But probably cut the video here and wait till we get to the main screen. Okay, so I finally got the game loading. I must have put a whole bunch of new mods in my mod folder, and that's why it's taking forever. Okay, so I'm gonna create a new save game here. I'm gonna do new farmer. It doesn't really, I don't think it matters too much. Ooh, that's bright. What you choose. Go all the way down to U. Where's the U? All the way down to Utah here. So you'll probably find it somewhere in here. Mine's Utah. It's at the very end. Kind of like that it's at the very end. That's kind of easy to locate. Okay, continue. All right, I'm going to deselect all. It's not a huge deal. Usually some helpful mods are store delivery mod and easy developer. Okay, easy developer, not courseplay. Courseplay can crash your new map sometimes if you don't have field dimensions down. That's kind of a rare occurrence, but I don't know why it does that. So I'm going to go click on easy developer just in case I want to use it. You can also like use easy developer, I think, to run around fast. It'll jump into the map, and this is our map, and rightfully so, it should be flat. That's absolutely what it should look like. This is Utah, ladies and gentlemen, but yours isn't going to necessarily be flat. Yours will be more undulated or something like that. Let me jump into why don't we jump into okay, let's back out here. So that's, you look around and observe your terrain and everything, see how everything looks. I think I have Elkader 16x in here. Yeah, I think no, it's not that. Okay. All right, well, yeah, I don't have it in here, but that doesn't matter. You get the point. You're gonna basically be walking around, checking your terrain and everything. You can also do the same when you're in Giants Editor. You can just raise that plane up and then go to that spot. If you have like Google Road, like Google Street View, you can go down to where that road is on the image plane, like just zoom in and then kind of look around and then go to the Google Street View and look around as well. That's a good way of doing it. Google Street View is magic like that. But if you're from the area, you should know the terrain pretty well. I'm assuming a lot of you guys are doing maps of your area, so you'll probably have a better idea of what it looks like than I do. Okay, so that's in-gaming your map. Super easy. And you can now work from your mods folder if you really want to, and your map's in your mods folder. You can work from that directory and just open your map in that directory. I'm going to keep it on the desktop, keep moving it to the mods folder when I'm ready to do more testing, but it's just easy to access on the desktop for me. So we're going to keep going. We're going to keep moving on. I think we're going to get to the tree script, foliage script, and then roads. Super easy stuff that seems complicated, not complicated at all. Okay, so thank you for watching, and let's move on to the next lesson.